Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. You ever had somebody you don't trust on paper? You know, they got a job and they do certain things and you trust that they're going to do that before they do what's best for you and all this and that, right? But deep down, you know, you trust them with your life. You ever had anybody like that in your life? See, that's what Officer Ward was to Joe. Fed with a dirty past, brother from the other side of the badge, man walking the line between truth and survival. That's who he was. And this is the moment that Joe realized that information can save your life and silence can kill you. Now, it started with a package, a plain manila envelope, no return address. Trey found it on the steps of Black Crown before the sun came up, taped to the door like a warning or a dare, so to speak. Let's put it that way. And inside, again, it had this flash drive, a picture of war, and a folded napkin with 2 words in black ink: watch close. Joe didn't plug the drive in at his headquarters. That was too risky because people can do things with that. They can put a virus in it and hack it and wipe your whole system out, or implant something in it and hijack all your stuff. So instead, he called Keely. You know, she the tech one, and had her run it through her offline terminal, right, so she could make sure everything was straight. And what she found shook the room cold, y'all. Cold. It was a night vision, like a photo on there, right? It was real grainy, and you know how you see some of them old war movies or these war movies where they'll show Delta Team 6 is getting ready to try to do one of these off-book late night missions, and it's green like, and the microphones is all static and all this and that. That's like what this was, right? And the location, they thought it was whoever was there, they thought it was a private meeting, and they were doing their planning session. They was even having conversations and stuff like that, right? And whoever took this, Keela said, they've been watching us, because the photograph, the film was of Joe and Trey. Somebody had been watching them. Then she paused the screen and she said, war. And then she saw something else, right? But then anyway, they were meeting with this man in the parking lot. His face was half covered up. License plate, you couldn't really see it. But the voice, Joe recognized it before the subtitles kicked in and told him who it was. Stacks. It was Stacks. Joe left the office at night by himself. He didn't tell Trey. He didn't bring security. He went straight to the warehouse off Presley, where War used to drop notes under a loose vent behind the dumpster. War was already there. Beat up, looking silly, got the hoodie on, but his limp, it was more noticeable. You know what I'm saying? From the beatings he had been taking, at the cigarette dangling out his mouth. You know how them folks be having them cigarettes be hanging out their mouth on the tip of the lip and all that, but the ashes are still on there? Yeah, that part. Ward looked at him and said, you saw it? And Joe didn't answer. He just looked at it. He stepped into the light. Ward stared at him. Said, you think I flipped? Joe tilted his head. He said, did you? Ward reaches up. He grabbed his cigarette out of his mouth. He flicked it. He said, I'm not a saint, Joe. Never was. But I'm still on your side. That video, that was a test. Joe said, a test? Stepping close to him, right? Closing that space. Because like I say, you got to always remember, when you about ready to do something or you think you might need to do something, you need to be the one that initiate the closing of the space to let the other person know, I'm not playing with you. So Ward nodded and looked at him. He said, Stacks offered me a deal. And I played along. I let him think I was bitter about being pulled off the assignment. He gave me enough rope, and I turned it into a net. Joe looked at him. He just threw his arms up in there. He said, why not just tell me that? Because I needed them to believe me 100%. If even your face changed around me, they would know. They would know. that I had told you. Joe went silent again. And he finally asked him, after standing there looking at him eye to eye, contemplating, "So what did you catch?" So he pulled out a folded piece of paper from his coat. It was a full list of accounts, shell companies, drop locations, 2 new names. One of them connected to the city council. Oh yeah, I told y'all this stuff gets deep. It gets real deep. You stepped into a bigger war, Joe. This ain't about games no more. This is about the machine. Now, a lot of y'all will probably be thinking like, what is Joe T talking about? The machine. See, a lot of people don't understand a lot of the stuff that happens in the street, it's allowed to continue to happen because it fits the agenda of whoever it is that's making the money. Right. Think about this. We've all heard of cities or lived in cities or know about these cities where you got parts of town where don't nobody want to go. Don't nobody want to be. The police don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there, anything like that. Who's benefiting from that? Until all of a sudden somebody decide that that area is worth something. We want to build a stadium over there. We want to build a factory over there. Or we got all of these rich people coming in that got a lot of money there to pay 3 times the value of that property. And now all of a sudden this area becomes valuable, right? It becomes worth something. And all of a sudden people want it. That's the machine I'm talking about. The machine that decides what's valuable, what's not. Who gets financing and help and who doesn't. That machine. Who benefits from crime and who doesn't. That machine. Everybody in the city pays taxes. The taxes goes towards the fire and the law enforcement and all of this and that. But how is it that if the taxes goes towards all that, you got certain parts of cities that don't even have the protection, the minimal protection that they deserve? Because somebody in the machine decided that it's not worth it right now. Who would conclude or who would have the audacity to conclude that certain parts of town don't deserve the help that everybody else does? Why would I ask such a rhetorical question? We all know the answer. Those that benefit from that. Well, you would say, well, how can somebody benefit from crime, Joe? Oh, man, don't be so naive. Don't be so naive. There's many, many ways that people benefit from crime. Politicians benefit from crime because they have a point they can argue when it's time to get reelected. Yeah. That type of stuff. It fits an agenda. It fits a narrative. And then they're going to say, I'm going to come and save the day. I'm going to help you. But anyway, later that night, Trey, he sat with Joe. And they went through this list. Name after name. Phone numbers, Venmo aliases, meeting dates. But it was one that stuck out. One that stuck out. It caught their attention in a way that it shocked them. It was Tank's cousin, Daryl. They called him D-Dot. He was a pill dealer, man. You know what I'm talking about. Getting it. All kinds of pills, any kind you would ever need, right? But now, he was working as a consultant for a Memphis development company that had just bought 3 blocks near Black Crown Enterprises. Joe closed the folder. This ain't random. Nah. Trey looked up. It's a buyout. Joe nodded. Nah, it's not that either. It's a slow squeeze. Roland couldn't take me out with bullets. So now he trying to choke me with the briefcase. Keeley walked in with another update. City inspector had flagged the South office for code violations. Just got the notice. Joe sat there. You know how sometimes when you got a headache, you just start to rub your nipple, your temples and stuff like that on your head. That's what he started doing, just rubbing his temples. Every move we make, they watching, he said. Trey's eyes narrowed. We watching back. But it always seemed like it wasn't enough. always seemed like they were a step behind. Things wasn't turning out the way they had hoped. They were starting to feel discouraged. So 2 nights later, Joe met with War again, this time behind the old country library. War looked exhausted, tired, broken. He looked older. Joe looked at him and said, "Man, you good? You sure? You straight?" War sit down on a crate, lit him up a cigarette. Ain't that somehow people always say, "I'm good, I'm straight," and then fire up a cigarette? Anyway, then he said something Joe wasn't ready for. He said, "I'm done, man. I'm done." Joe stepped back and said, "What? What do you mean by that?" He said, "They're closing in, Joe. Internal Affairs, Homeland. Somebody tipped them about me." Joe frowned and looked at him. He was like, "Man, you ain't even working the case no more. Why they worrying about what you got going on?" Ward looked at him and said, "They don't care about that. They see me as elite. I crossed the line too many times for you, Joe. And they see that." And Joe was like, "What are you saying then?" "I'm saying I'm leaving, disappearing, before they bury me in some scandal and then end up locking me away for the rest of my life." And Joe looking at him, "You can't leave now. Not when I'm finally this close." And War, he pulled out a second flash drive from his pocket. This got everything. Names, dates, the proof, the full blueprint that building to flip this city into a private-owned gangland. He pressed it to Joe's hand. He said, "Look, finish what I started, Joe. Don't get scared. Don't back down. Don't run." As Joe walked back to his car, something didn't feel right. You know, that street instincts don't leave you because you go corporate. He felt something. It was too quiet. There wasn't no traffic out. Wasn't even no wind blowing. And then all of a sudden he heard them tires screeching. 3 masked men jumped out. Black SUV. Y'all know what it is. Joe, he ducked behind the dumpster, pulled that Glock from his waistband, and fired one of them up in there. Fire! All of a sudden, shots started flying everywhere. Joe hit the ground and rolled. He took cover. War yelled from behind, "Go take the drive." Joe looked back, saw one of the shooters hit War on the shoulder. Blood just sprayed up out of him. Another man charged him and swung a crowbar. Joe stepped to the side and pistol whipped him and ran. His drive still in his hand. He gets away. Joe made it to the safe house. Keely had just set up, had all the digital security so they could see people coming and going and all this and that, right? But when he got inside, he just fell down and collapsed on the floor, breathing real heavy, tripping, wondering what just happened. What just happened? He made a call real quick. Keely and Trey, they got there. It took them about 30 minutes, to get to the spot. He didn't understand what was going on, and they didn't either. Who knew that he was meeting with War? They must have been following him. Joe, still laying on the floor, he tossed the drive on the table. We got the map. All of it. But we're out of time. Keely plugged it in. What she saw made her just lean back and cover up her mouth. Real estate plans to buy out 5 South Memphis blocks. Police logs. They following, tracking all the youth affiliated violence and stuff going on associated with Black Crown. Undocumented payments to media consultants. Plans for a post-violence cleanup initiative funded by the same people. Bankrolling. Yeah, you guessed it. Roman. This wasn't about gang suppression. It was about gentrified control. Using community violence as justification to take over the community itself. Joe stood up, pissed off, angry, jaws clenched, not really understanding how something like this could happen over and over again and nobody wake up to it, then let's give them something they can't buy. Let's give them something that they can't buy. Black Crown, they went on the offensive and launched an encrypted website that night titled Blueprint Betrayal. Put it out there. Every document, every bank record, every lie. Uploaded, exposed, irrefutable. They shared it all across social media. Everybody was able to see what was going on. Keely is running the digital defenses, blocking because they were trying to block it from getting out. They see it. They're trying to stop it. It's like playing whack-a-mole, but they can't do nothing about it. Trey, he letting everybody in the streets know what's going on. Go check this, check this out. Miss Renee, she on her little thing, leading these press circles, got everybody praying, and within 24 hours, the city leaders were in panic mode. How did this get out? What's going on? Roman's name was trending. His associates disappeared from press events. Nobody wanted to be near him. In war, he was gone. No trail, no signal. Just one note slipped under the Black Crown office door. Stay dangerous, kid. They don't want you to win. So make it undeniable. War. The war just leveled up, y'all. This ain't corner boards and block beef no more. This is system warfare, political betrayal. And Joe, he ain't flinching. He just sharpening his crown. See, most of y'all think when we going against each other in the streets or in the penitentiaries that that's where it ends. If y'all just stop doing what you're doing, everything is going to be just okay. And that's true to some extent. But see, what discourages a lot of people from changing, what slows down that evolution that we all should be willing to take in changing and growing and becoming better versions of ourselves, is all the forces that we don't see, all the things that we don't understand that are at play while we're doing the nonsense and tearing down our families and communities. Somebody is taking advantage of that. Somebody is benefiting from that. The penitentiaries are getting fuller. The jails are overcrowded. The court system is overrun. And they let it go on and on and on because it appears that there's no answer other than that. But I'm telling you today that there is an answer, and the answer lies within you. It lies within you. The change that is necessary to catapult you to that next level of consciousness and understanding is within you, each and every one of you. All of us have to make a decision to no longer be manipulated and used by those that benefit from our behavior in hurting one another. We cannot continue to be used like that. We can't. It's an old Oxford dictionary that defines nigger, listen to me, that defines a nigger as somebody that does their master's bidding unaware. Are you that nigga? Think about that. Are you that nigga? You want to know how this continues to play out? Tune in, y'all, to the next episode. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.